Like, it's an older truck. Don't mind my seat because that sucks. I've got just like my dial cables and jump box, and there's a torque wrench behind the seat. First aid stuff, typical stuff like that. Steering wheel, gear shift, clutch. This is my Milwaukee pump. I named it after her. She makes a mess of them because she never puts anything back where she found it. Like, so I have to go in after her and like organize everything. If that door is open, you're probably not having a good day. I don't think. So.
It's Labor Day weekend, and we're giving you up to 20% off on some of our best tools, like Koken. Mueller, like these wrench extenders, minus the big tube. Even flange lock kits for our US customers. And yes, Tecton's on the list too. Don't wait, this sale ends Monday night.
What up? I'm Ryan, and
hey, I'm Cassandra.
this is our truck, HD Mechanical Services. It's a GMC, it's 03 7500. Got a cat engine. It's an older truck, but it runs good. Started running it in November of last year, so not even a full year yet. This is the main box. Sockets, wrenches, all that kind of stuff. All my power tools, my inverters, my chargers. This little gizmo here, so you can run your laptop when the battery's dead, because I never charge it. So I just take this in the cab of the machine with me. Pretty handy. When we're in the field, she'll just come in through here and she kind of goes like this. So she finds what she needs and she grabs it. And then she's like, I can't find it. So I'm like, hey, I'll go get it for her, you know? She makes a mess of them because she never puts anything back where she found it. Like, so I have to go in after her and like organize everything. This is like all my ratchets, all my long stuff. I like these little 3/8 Matco ratchets. They're pretty handy. They're pricey, but I like, you know, I've been buying some Icon stuff recently, testing it out, you know, from Harbor Freight, and it's pretty nice. It's for the price of it. It's awesome.
Do you have any favorites in those, or you kind of just?
I kind of just use what I need at the time.
She's not particular to any brand of tool. Sometimes she don't even know what it's called, but she knows how it works. You know. And we got wrenches. I've had the same set of wrenches for 10 years. When I first started, I didn't buy any name brand Snap-on or Matco, anything like that. Everything I bought was from Harbor Freight or Lowe's, and as I break them or get better, I start to buy better quality stuff, and yeah, the tool selection gets better. You know, I was like, oh, well, I broke that, I use it a lot, maybe I'll buy a high quality one. And same thing with sockets. This set of impact sockets I bought, it was my first set of impact half-inch drive impact sockets. I bought it from Harbor Freight, and it's still in my box. I've replaced some of them that I've worn out with SK or, you know, from Snap-on or Matco. I'm a real big Cornwell fan. I like Cornwell tools quite a bit. This drawer here is like a mess because this is all my random sockets that I customize or I break or I throw away, and you know, I cut the heads off because they're too long, and like this one here is not even any good. It's cracked. So I've got a drawer like that. This one's got all my swivels and extensions, all different sizes from 1/4 inch to 1 inch. This bunch of hammers, brass hammer. I like this a lot because I don't feel bad when I'm beating a bearing to death because I know it's not going to break it because it's brass. So this is like a drawer, all random wrenches, you know, they're all funny shapes, S's and homemade, cut in half, whatever, crow's feet. These style wrenches here, I'm really big fan of. I've got them up to like 3 inches all the way down to like 13/16 or 3/4 or something like that. They are the best wrenches for hydraulics. And from your channel, I bought one of these wrench extenders, and you put it on these wrenches, not this one in particular. I need to get the bigger one for the bigger wrenches, but it makes them awesome for doing hydraulic lines. Yeah, I've had it for like 2 or 3 years. I use it all the time. It's one of the things I do when I grab a wrench out. I just wish I had the bigger one for the bigger wrenches. My socket drawer, and it's 8 and 6 spline sockets. These are all custom too, where I've had to grind the heads down to make them fit specific places, or I wear these out quite a bit on chipper drums. And you know, some rusty ones, hubs, stuff like that. This is just all random wrenches in here, all my real big stuff. This is a very pricey set of pliers, but it is the best thing I've ever bought. I don't even use pipe wrenches anymore. I just use these. I can stand on them and put a snipe bar on it if I have to, whatever. They're awesome. If you get into doing a lot of like skid steers and track work, these telescoping pry bars are super slick for doing track work. We bought a lot of stuff from that Cornwell guy. I bought her a bunch of stuff from him just because it was blue and that's the color she liked. I've got some specialty tool stuff in here. So I bought these to trying to fill that gap. They're junk. This box is my other main box. So this drawer is like all kinds of air fittings, like for working on trailers and stuff like that. Tires, seals, Schrader valve stuff. It's kind of random. These couple of drawers are random here. This is like feeler gauges and cleaning stuff and scrapers. I saw one of your guys do a video about this Nest thing, so I bought the small one to try it. This was sweet. I'm gonna buy the big set. It's super handy, actually. Like, save my ass, because you get into some weird threads like on undercarriages that are real fine, and they're not standard anywhere. Track bolts, sprocket bolts, and that saved my ass a few times. This is all my pliers stuff. I've got a whole drawer full of pliers, but I pretty much use exclusively these 4 or 5 pairs right here. Like, these are about the only ones I use. So Knipex and Snap-on. Snap-on sold me on this set here, and I like them a lot. These penny grabbers or whatever. So I bought them, and these Knipex, they're awesome. And these are my favorite for doing electrical work, butt connectors and all that kind of stuff. This screwdrivers, picks, spoons. I bought these and I never used them. 2 weeks ago we did the engine on my truck, and it came in handy because it's got a Huey engine, so to do the high pressure oil pump, it's a quick connect fitting. It's super slick, so I'm glad I had them in the truck because we were 400 miles away from home. This is just other random vice grips, seal install tool that I bought from Cornwell because I thought it was really cool because it adjusts to all these different sizes. I've never been able to make it work on a single time, so it just kind of rides in there. Like, he also sold me on this, which is, you can make it, you know, a dual way or a 3-way puller. And I've used this a handful of times. That's come pretty in handy for like weird shaped hubs and stuff. Thread files. Before I got that Nest tool thing, you had to file threads out by hand, and that gets to suck after a while. This is all like my punches, brass, wedges for moving stuff that's being stubborn. And then down here's all my electrical stuff. So a really big fan of this Matco multimeter. This Snap-on torch I've had forever, and I use it all the time, lighting everything from fireworks to the grill to, you know, making your steak a little crispy or something. Like, I use it all the time. Like, then I got like my air tools and stuff up here. This is my 1-inch pistol gun from Cornwell, and I bought this specifically for doing rollers on undercarriages because it's small enough that I didn't have to get the machine way up here to use a big gun. So I was able to like just slide this under there, pop them loose, and then run them out with a ratchet or whatever the rest of the way. And this thing kicks ass. It is bad. And more Cornwell. This is awesome because it flexes and it rotates, and it'll break your wrist if you're not careful because of the angles you get into with it. And I put this little doodad on there to really make it maneuverable, really handy when you're doing flanges, like you're in a hole in between a loader and you're doing a coupling on the flywheel or the whatever, you know. It's super handy. This is all my old air tool stuff. I don't use any of this stuff. I haven't in quite some time, but I just keep it on the truck in case my inverter takes a shit and I'm out of batteries or something, you know what I mean? This is the 1/2-inch one. I've had this my entire career. I've rebuilt it twice, and it just keeps going, and it's tough as nails, you know. And my 3/4. I bought it because I like this one so much. This is my Milwaukee pump for fluid transfers and stuff. When I first bought it, I was so excited about it. I named it after her. This box is like the library. She never knows where anything is in here because it's
Too tall for me. I need a step stool.
That part,
I have
and
to be short.
she doesn't know the cases. I used to have them labeled. My greasy hands get all over everything, and they're not really labeled anymore, but I've got all kinds of in here. I mean, taps, big massive snap ring pliers, Huey coil kits, bit kits, all kinds of other socket sets. These are all my 1/2-inch drive, like my short welds, my wobbles, extractor sets, piston ring pliers. I use those a lot for doing hydraulic cylinders, holding land seals together when I'm installing them, whatever. This is a handy little thing I bought. I never thought I would ever use it before I went to a dealership and got really into electronic diagnostics. And I bought this kit to be able to plug in instead of doing it the hack way of like poking wires. So this really changed the game for me and stepped up my professional standard, you know. So I bought this Texas twister thing, and you put it on your air hammer so you can, instead of, if you need to pull something out like a bar, I used to work on a grinding machine that had real long pins in it, and you couldn't run them all the way through from one side, so you had to pull them. And I would weld attachments and put this on there and use my air hammer and drive them out. This is another super cool thing, this rotary thread kit. This will literally cut threads for any size butt rest, any size gland, any bolt. I mean, if you're patient enough, you put it in your little Milwaukee doodad or whatever rotary tool you use, and it's super. This is well worth the money. This is one of my favorite things from Cornwell here. I bought it because I do a lot of welding, and it's just perfect. You know, you take a seat, holds like 300 pounds. It's awesome. When you're done, you just pack it up. Be careful if you're doing a lot of torch work, because the one I had before this melted while I was sitting on it, and you fall to the ground and it sucks and it's embarrassing. These sockets in here are sockets that I commonly use 1-inch drive, like tire sockets for big trucks and undercarriages, because I do, seems here recently I've been doing a lot of undercarriages, so a lot of cat stuff, and I'm too lazy to dig out the bottom box that they all go in, so I just stack them in the corner. So this is my welder box. So it's got like my hoods, my welding leads, my 1-inch gun, my vacuum, pig mat, my radio, a bandsaw. I got a bunch of clamps and dogs down there for moving metal, all my rod, my grinders. I bought this last year and for cutting steel, and it'll cut 1/2-inch plate pretty decently. And I always thought it was pretty neat because I didn't have to clean it up with a grinder. I was doing a job last week where I had to cut a bunch of expanded metal, and if you've ever worked with that, that sucks to cut even with a plasma cutter. This changed the game. It was just, I mean, 5 minutes, no grinding, no cleanup work. It was awesome. I got these knee pads. She wears knee pads a lot because she works in a shop a lot and she rolls around on the ground. So she bought these to keep in the truck. This bumper here, I got a bunch of long pry bars, you know, real big ones, and all my big sledgehammers are in there. If that door is open, you're probably not having a good day, I don't think. So, my truck, it's at pretty much max capacity. I've run out of space in the boxes. It's got all my big press tools, hydraulic porta powers, my cylinders, my AC vacuum. It's a pretty high dollar box that I paid $100 for 12 years ago, you know, like it's got all kinds of stuff in it. Important stuff that's just too big to store in the doors. My spare tire, all my big hose, like my 3/4 and 1/2-inch hose is all up there. I'm like a scrap metal hoarder, so I keep a lot of metal because I'm constantly building and fabricating little things all the time. I don't know why, I just can't do it with the proper tools. I don't know what my issue is with that. These are super handy. I use that to pressure wash. Anytime I'm welding, I just keep it on me. You just fill that with water and charge it, and it's, if you got a pressure wash, I just degrease something and just use that like a pressure washer on the back of my truck. It's super handy. This is a 2-manded pin driver. I use that a lot if I'm doing track pins. You know, you'll get the operator to, if you can get the operator to help you and hold it. Sometimes they don't do, but if you can, you get them to hold it while you drive a pin out on a track or something like that. It works sometimes. This is all thread. I use this all the time for pulling pins. I just keep this and a bunch of nuts and washers with me. I've got a hollow ram jack, you know, 50-ton that I run on my porta power in it. I weld those to the pins and I pull them out. I build little baskets and stuff to pull them out with, and it definitely changed the game of not having to carry a thermal lance everything out all the time. That's because that's messy and expensive, and a lot of the customers don't think they should always have to buy new pins, so they get pissy when you tell them you got to cut the pin out. You know, it's not reusable. This has just got like my tire tools and stuff in it. I hate doing tires, so I don't usually tell people I have tire tools in my truck because I absolutely hate them. When I first got the truck, I put them all in there, and they slid all the way across here and stopped this door from opening. For like weeks, I couldn't even get into it. One day I just checked it and it opened. I was like, oh, that's awesome. So I welded a piece of angle iron in there to keep them from sliding in there and doing that again. I should have just left it shut and never opened it again. This is like all my rigging stuff. It's got all my chains for my rigging, a bunch of come-alongs and different shackles in there. It's all my air stuff for blowing stuff out, got all my different adapters, all my tire gauges, crane remote. This has got like a bunch of my different rigging attachments. So I'm a real big fan of these cat lifting brackets. I've got a bunch of them in different shapes and sizes, and super, super handy. You just use the OE bolt and put it in there. Before I got these, I used to run a lot of these. The problem with these is that you have to have a bazillion of them to cover all the different bolt patterns and stuff. Whereas this, you just have this and whatever bolt you took out of the hole. This is like my consumable box. It's got all my fluids that I use. My grease gun, Loctite, dielectric grease, all that. O-rings, butt connectors, and Deutsch pins and all that stuff. And I've got 2 full drawers of hydraulic caps and plugs. And I was telling her the other day, I still didn't have the plugs and caps that I needed, you know, like, but I've got all different adapters and stuff for like building jumper hoses or tying into stuff to pressure test, flow test. In the US, this is pretty standard for mechanics to have for bulk brake clean. You fill it with your brake clean and you air charge it. But if you're like me, you break these all the time. $80 junk can. I saw one of the guys, Cam, I think, had this, and I ordered it on Amazon. This is my second one in 3 years, and it's like 40 bucks, and I don't have to air my truck up all the fucking time. I just pump it and brake clean wherever I need it. It's super convenient. Any mechanic wears a salt carries a roll of gasket paper around. I make a lot of gaskets because I'll be out in the middle of nowhere. You can't even go to Napa and get a simple gasket for like a turbo drain or something like that. I've gotten really good at using a ball peen hammer to make gaskets over the years. I've got some specialty tool stuff in here. I work on a lot of cat stuff. So like barring tools, injector height, depth tools, injector pullers. I bought these because, again, 2 drawers of caps and plugs and still never had the right one all the time. So I bought these to try to fill that gap. They're junk. Like they'll fall out, or they just don't stay in, they just leak. This has got a lot of fabricating stuff in it, so like levels and squares and torch handles, drill bits. And these are, I can just, instead of having to make a jumper hose to tie my pressure gauge into, I can just put this in line, put my pressure gauge on it, and it's awesome. And I've got tons of pressure gauges in that orange box back there. I've got a whole thing just full of pressure gauges and adapters, flow meters. This is all like torch work stuff, tips and soapstones and other, you know, spare welding stuff. Grinding wheels, drill bits. Big fan of these. A company I used to work for gave me these for Christmas. Super big fan of these Bulldozer drill bits here. Real big fan of these Cornwell drill bits too. They've got like a hyper step on them. They're lifetime warranty. You just can't resharpen them. So you got to get your dealer to replace them. And I've got a few broken ones in here I got to get replaced. These cut really well. They work really well. I've got this drill bit set here for when I know I'm about to drill some stuff that's going to really f up expensive bits. So I just tear these ones up. Just more wire brushes. This drawer's got like specialty tool stuff. So if you do a lot of hydraulic cylinders, these seal twisters, they're super handy for doing the inner seals. Instead of spending 30 minutes fighting one stubborn plastic seal, just warm it up with your heat gun or warm oil, whatever your trick is. Use these, pop them in there, makes it super fast. For doing gland nuts, these are must have if you've got face glands. A lot of times you can't get your pipe wrench on it because the way the gland sits on the barrel. So at least get it started with this and then trusty Knipex to roll it the rest of the way out. These are for doing chains. I work on a lot of forestry grinders. So I deal with a lot of big heavy chain, industrial grade chain. And these are for pulling them together so I can push them out, put them in, whatever. It's oil filter wrenches, punches, reamers. I use this quite often where your grinder doesn't fit. And this works really well. This is Cornwell as well. Cornwell's got some pretty nifty, wiggly kind of tools, you know, like. And then this is more air tools. This is my favorite air hammer. I love this thing to death. I'm gonna have one of them forever because I use it all the time. So this is my torch box. This regulator I use for nitrogen for AC systems. And then I've got my AC gauges. I've got an arc gouging whip there. I used to use this little air vacuum pump for ACs. I don't anymore because to run my PTO and compressor to run that, I got to let my truck run. And I decided it's fine when you work for a dealership and you're not paying the fuel bill, but when you're paying the fuel bill and it's your stuff, that's not the most efficient way to go about it. I got all my funnels and hub drain pans. These tower lights from Milwaukee, if you do any amount of work in the dark, super handy, gotta have them. I bought the blower. I use it for blowing off equipment that's real dirty, dusty. I bought the chainsaw too, and my buddy made fun of me. He's like, there's no reason to have a chainsaw and a blower on your service truck. You'll never use it. And I was out in the woods doing tracks on a 963 Cat, and I didn't have enough jack stands or height to get it high enough on there to do the rollers on it. So I just used that Milwaukee chainsaw and cut me some blocks out of some big oak trees and stacked my jacks up on it and saved my ass, you know, because once again, in the middle of nowhere. That about wraps it up. I mean, got my water tank for washing hands and filling my extinguisher up, and I just got it plumbed to right here. So I built that basket to carry all my buckets, gear oil, hydraulic oil, brake clean, all that stuff is up there. Well, that's it for us. That's our truck tour. HD Mechanical Services out of North Florida. If you have any questions, comments, interest in any of this stuff, I guess comment below and we'll get you sorted out.
Need I say more about these? I think we know what these are called. This, whenever I pull this out, it's a great day. So this next drawer, I call it the act right drawer. Because when this comes out, you know, I'm beating something to make sure it's gonna act right. Loctite, because you know, screw the other guy, but the other guy's always you. Anytime the sledge comes out, I'm angry and I'm getting things done. So I got a tag out kit, you know, because these operators, man, they're not very smart, you know, and these are just scattered around the truck for, you know, in case operator gets his feelings hurt, you can grab one. No really use for it, but it's kind of a funny story. I was stranded in Tijuana.
Are you?
There's a lot more to that story, but we'll keep it clean.